and welcome to Health Options with me, Rabi Abdullah. Health Options is the program that not only tracks government's policies on health, but helps you to make informed choices about your health. A lot of people question the need for food supplements such as vitamins, minerals, or micronutrients. Part of the arguments in that regard is that the body gets the required nutrients from dietary intakes. Others hold the belief that the body gets or takes only what is needed for metabolic activities. While such is tenable under normal circumstances, the emergence of the global coronavirus pandemic, however, underscores greater need for supplementation as a lot of emphasis is being placed on the role of the immune system as a fantastic defense mechanism against COVID-19. Join us on Nature's Corner for an enlightenment on why you need food supplements and what to go for. The Central Bank of Nigeria, as part of its policy response to the COVID-19, introduced the Healthcare Sector Research and Development Intervention Scheme to help strengthen the public healthcare system with innovative financing of research and development (R&D) in new and improved drugs, vaccines, and diagnostics of infectious diseases in the country. Specifically, the intervention scheme is designed to trigger intense national R&D activities to develop a Nigerian vaccine, drugs, and herbal medicines against the spread of COVID-19 and other diseases through the provision of grants to biotechnological and pharmaceutical companies, institutions, researchers, and research institutes. The scheme aims at boosting diagnostic manufacturing of critical drugs and vaccines to ensure their sustainable domestic supply and reduce the bulk manufacturing cost of drugs, herbal medicine, and vaccines in the country. It is expected that the facility will be utilized by Nigerian businesses involved in the healthcare industry, especially during this period of COVID-19. On this episode of Health Options, we take a look at Nigeria's efforts at repositioning R&D towards finding local solutions to COVID-19 and other infectious diseases, as well as communicable and non-communicable diseases, in view of the Central Bank of Nigeria's Healthcare Sector Research and Development Intervention Scheme grants. My guest is the Director General of the National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development, NIPRID, Dr. Obi Adigwe. You'll get to meet him shortly. Thanks for joining us on the program. Glad to have you join us on Health Options again, Dr. Adigwe.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Take us into this scheme by the CBN before we go further.
Since COVID-19 started, as you are aware, I have pushed for the Nigerians, for the government, for all stakeholders to prioritize research and development, because without research and development, you cannot move forward as a country. That's a fact. So what we've been able to achieve is to enable an improved individual, institutional, and collective understanding as well as appreciation for the role of research and development. So this particular gesture by the CBN, the Healthcare Research and Development Grant that has been put forward, makes that one of the first tangible outcomes of that particular change in appreciation. And it's very critical. As you're aware, based on interventions that we've put forward, you've heard President Muhammadu Buhari, you've heard Secretary Mustafa, you've heard Ministers Ehanire and Mamora constantly on the television saying that we must, whatever is coming, we must subject it to the relevant research and development. That's a strong policy directive for all stakeholders to key into. And it's because we've been able to articulate the role of research and development. But I must commend the CBN for being one of the first institutions among the very many institutions that could have played that role, for coming out and putting its money where its mouth is to say, yes, we understand the relevance of research and development. Here is so and so amount of money.
How much are we talking about?
Well, the we were looking at about 100 billion. Data tells us that in the world, in Africa, and indeed the world, Nigeria's spending on research and development per capita is one of the lowest. So while it is a good gesture, it's a drop in the ocean. But what is important about this particular grant?
But don't you think that the outcome of this drop in the ocean could ginger for more to be,
Absolutely.
it will go that way?
Absolutely. So like I said, I will commend the CBN for starting and pushing it forward. NIPRID is put forward as one of the key institutions that will help to frame this particular grant and midwife it to ensure that positive results are achieved at the end of the day. Whilst I say it's a drop in the ocean, well, I don't mean to disparage the amount. That's not what I intend to do. But I'm comparing what has been done to the need that needs to be addressed. So CBN has taken a step in the right direction. There are other stakeholders that need to now key in, and consistently I have been calling out those stakeholders. There are foundations that have a significant amount of funding which they have put forward for other activities. Those foundations need to understand that funding research, there is nothing better than funding research and development. Your funding research and development will lead to the generation of innovative ideas. It will lead to development of homegrown solutions. It will lead to ensuring that socio-economic objectives are realized. So that funding research and development is, I would argue, one of the most altruistic things that a foundation can do. There are development partners who previously used to prefer funding the importation
of commodities.
Yes. This, for years, we have been arguing the concept of medicine security.
Yeah.
COVID-19 has now justified our argument. It looks as if, in fact, a colleague was saying that, Obi, it appears that you guys were looking at a crystal ball to predict exactly what is happening now. Because we said it. We said that manufacturing needs to be localized. And at that time, our argument was that you need to focus on the proximity of manufacturing. And while you're focusing on the proximity of manufacturing, you would ensure that people within the milieu where those commodities, where those drugs are being used, are also benefiting. And previously, development partners used to prefer the importation, like I said earlier. However, this has shown everybody that the most sustainable approach to ensuring access to healthcare is manufacturing locally. And that keys into this particular grant. The same way that previously we used to have a double bottom line, but nowadays it's international best practice to do a triple bottom line. It's the same way that every responsible company needs to now start saying, at the end of my financial statement, what CSR have I done? In my CSR component, how much of my CSR have I put forward?
We are hoping that this will indeed serve as a catalyst to such companies and private sector players, to look the way of research and development. Now, I took a look at eligibility, and I know that for your own institute, there's no doubt about the fact that NIPRID qualifies for some of the criteria that I have gone through. And I know at the beginning of, the outbreak of COVID-19 in the country, you presented a hand sanitizer. Federal Ministry of Health.
I actually carry it around.
And in the course of an interview that I had with you, you said something about some immune boosting formulations that the Institute, had been working on. How will this catalyze that so that Nigerians can still start having access to such, because when it is locally manufactured, it means, it's going to be affordable and accessible to a lot of people.
Yes. Very good question, Rabi. So in addition to NIPRID being eligible, like you earlier mentioned, we are also an institution that has been recognized as being pro-collaboration. So even other institutions who have the intention of keying in, but at this particular time, they have done a self-analysis and have identified that due to certain weaknesses in their systems, they may not be able to key in immediately. NIPRID has opened its doors to collaborate with those institutions. Our mandate gives us the ability to put together, a collating body for all pharmaceutical and healthcare related research and development. Now, coming to your specific question about our interventions, again, you're quite right that in addition to our hand sanitizers.
Yeah, because the PTF recently made a very disturbing, observation where it's, I think it was
it was our research.
Exactly, that it was 60% of the hand sanitizers in circulation within the FCT did not even meet the standard requirement of 60% alcohol base.
Yeah. So this is again some of the good work that my crack team of scientists have been doing in NIPRID. There's no day, there is no week that we don't bring out innovative research. And like you rightly said, when we undertook, for the sanitizers itself, what we did was that we realized that before coronavirus hit Nigeria, what we did was we did a scenario analysis, and we identified that in Europe, in China, in Asia, where the coronavirus hit, very quickly, commodities like this, were wiped out of the shelves and people couldn't get them. And that increased the spread in those settings. So we quickly said, what can we do in NIPRID to forestall that from happening here? And we came up with, validating our sanitizer model, and validated it, presented it to the Honorable Minister. Like you said, I think you were there during the presentation. And additionally, we collated all the local manufacturers who had the capacity to do it, to produce sanitizers, shared our formulation with those who required an upskill in the technical capacity, and spread it. And so what it did was that those kind of disruptions you saw in the developed world weren't seen here. So you didn't see the kind of empty shelves that you saw. Even at a point in time, the hike in price was quickly brought back down because more people, our strategy was to get more people locally to be able to manufacture hand sanitizers, and we achieved that.
A lot of people, some of them were doing it the wrong way. Anyway.
Well, again, that's where I'm coming to. So that's another thing. So when that happened, again, we got reports, and as scientists, we don't deal with anecdotal evidence. What we do is we go out to the field, we collect data, we subject the data to analysis, and then we give you an empirical report. And so that's what we did. Like you rightly said, there was now a lot of people involved in sanitizer manufacturing, and the quality became an issue, and that could also defeat the purpose that we aimed at achieving from the first instance. So from that report, what we did was we quickly alerted the minister, and as well as copied NAFDAC, who is the regulatory agency in charge of ensuring the monitoring and evaluation of these products. And we told them, this is what we're noticing. And like you rightly said, again, I want to use it to commend the administration of the day for their understanding and appreciation of science. Secretary Mustafa picked it up and flagged it and told Nigerians, I think he literally pulled out the big guns to say, we are watching. This is the result of the research that NIPRID has done. And we as government are watching. And if you don't take care, we're going to come down hard on you. And so that is how you link, something that people are rumoring about, anecdotal evidence, to evidence-based hard science, to policy making. You can see the change.
Yeah. I know that NIPRID, NIMA, as government institutions, that are saddled with some of those things that Nigerians should look forward to. Have always had the challenge of financing. And now we have this little, might not be that much, but it's something to move us from where we've been. So what are those immediate things? We're talking about implementation now. Since you're in touch with the CBN, what stage are we now?
So,
because I'm sure Nigerians are in a hurry to see things
I agree with you. Even before coronavirus, we had engaged CBN robustly for this type of intervention. So we're intimately aware of the happenings there. I am happy to inform you that the board of experts, which is the sort of like gatekeeper for this particular grant, has now been inaugurated. What that means is that it is now official. So the CBN has called them together and told them that you are now an officially constituted body. You can now start your work. That's a good update to give.
On a final note, Dr. Adigwe, I know that NIPRAID as an institute has a lot of products on its shelf waiting to be tapped. And those formulations are lying on the shelves. You equally told me that you have some immunomodulation formulations that could... So how soon that could all those could see the light of day in terms of access now, for Nigerians to...
Niprimion, like you mentioned, is a product which, comes from a plant that is widely known to grow in Nigeria. And my team has done the entire preclinical studies, okay? So the preclinical studies consists of in vivo studies, consist of in vitro studies, and some form of in silico studies. So all this has been done, okay? And the preclinical studies that we have done has given some incontrovertible evidence that this particular product, right, has the potential to improve the immune system of someone who would potentially take it. So the next level now is to now subject it to people who have COVID-19, because we've repurposed that particular formulation for COVID-19. And as you're aware, so we've put together the entire protocol for Niprimion clinical studies, and we've received ethical approval. So we are at the cusp of now receiving fundings to now begin the clinical studies. And I am very confident that in a matter of weeks and at most months, we will be here again on health options with the very insightful Rabbi Abdallah giving you an update on Niprimion.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Adigwe, for making our time to be with us on the program.
Thank you, Rabbi. As usual, it's my pleasure to give Nigerians an update in research and development.
Is Nature Scanner, where you will find out why food supplements are very important at this critical period of COVID-19.
The micronutrients are the vitamins and the minerals. Now let's go back to nature. When all is well and good, the micronutrients are actually derived from the soil. That is how the roots of the plant or the trees absorb these micronutrients, and then they go up, they are used. Then either through the leaves or the bark or stem or whichever part of the tree or vegetables or fruits that we take, we contain these micronutrients that are derived from the soil. However, in recent time, with agricultural practices and increased use of fertilizers, pesticides, they have been leaching of these micronutrients from the soil. What do I mean by leaching? Leaching is a kind of drainage. What happens ordinarily, these micronutrients are actually recycled. That is, from the soil, they come up, then we take them, then some of the leaves we drop, then they will go back, and then it keeps recycling like this. So definitely what we see today are sources of micronutrients like plants and then some other parts like fruits. they no longer contain the same concentration of micronutrients as it used to be. Studies have been done in the United States where they monitor the micronutrient levels in certain plants like cabbage or tomatoes over 50 years. And at the end of 50 years, they saw that there has been a decrease or depletion of about 60%, which means that magnesium or potassium that used to be in that garbage 50 years ago had gone down by 60%. This is the reason why we have to supplement. Micronutrients should be taken at what we call the normal level. That's for an individual who is actually, healthy. There is what we call the maintenance level. All he needs is just the maintenance level. However, in disease state, these levels of micronutrients, what they call the daily average requirement, normally goes down or is get depleted by 100-fold. So take for example, let me use vitamin D. Vitamin D, the normal levels, it should be in the range of 30 to 70 nanograms, per deciliter. However, if for a normal individual you can say, all right, he is in that range, so he is okay. And clinically, this should not be less than 70 nanograms per deciliter. But in disease state, we've seen patients that the vitamin D level is less than 10 nanograms per deciliter. The best way of getting vitamin D is from the sunlight. That's if you stay in the sun and then receive the sunlight, it is usually suggested that from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. So during those hours, if you stay outside the sun, your body is unable to manufacture enough vitamin D. I'm talking about a normal individual who has no disease challenges. As we age, the levels of these vitamins that get in our body actually lowers. So if you just depend on that, you got to question yourself, because you need to remain on top there. The best way to do it, especially in severe disease state, this is why parenteral or injectable forms of vitamin D should be taken into consideration. The same thing applies to other micronutrients. What I take, let me give my example. I am on vitamin D. I take both the injectable form, which is high doses, as well as the oral, form. Then vitamin C, which has very potent antioxidant, properties. It also scavenges, free radicals that are the cause of over 200, diseases. There are other products, melatonin. Melatonin is a very good supplement. It is actually what we call a bioidentical, hormone, because our body actually produces, melatonin. But here again, as you age over time, also as you get challenged over time with, diseases, the level of melatonin naturally, decreases. So you need to supplement it too. So there are melatonin, we have melatonin, tablets that you can take, orally. It is very important. It's also known as a hormone of sleep. It is what induces our own system. It detoxifies our body. It also boosts our own immune system. Then other products that you can take or do take is something like CoQ10. CoQ10 is also in tablet form. We also have it in injectable forms. Then there is what we call the quercetin. It is also in tablet form you can take. But this is the major list of what you need to take during this time to actually maintain your immune system.
And what is health options for this week? Take responsibility to protect yourself and your loved ones against COVID-19 by observing the existing safety protocols. A quick reminder that you can go to our YouTube channel to watch the upload of these and other episodes of the program. Email us for your comments and contributions at healthoptions@nta.gov.ng. My name is Rabi Abdullah. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.